So, are you hiring all this top-tier talent, these people with perfect resumes, only to find your team is just polishing the status quo instead of actually building the future? Well, let's explore a framework for finding those hidden innovators, the ones who can really move the needle.
You know, the writer Paul Graham once said, "Your 20s are always an apprenticeship. You just don't know what for." And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Our most important learning, the stuff that really shapes us, it often happens completely outside of any formal plan. It's a key idea for understanding a totally different kind of talent.
But here's the thing. In a world where entire industries can get turned upside down overnight, is that traditional, super-structured apprenticeship model even relevant anymore? Or could it be the very thing that's holding back the innovation you need to survive? Let's dig into that.
All right, part one, the problem. And we're going to call this the credentials trap.
So, I want you to imagine you're a CTO for a minute. You're looking at your hiring pipeline, and it is just filled with these perfect, top-tier resumes. I mean, on paper, you've basically assembled a dream team.
These are the people who followed the playbook to a T. They climbed this perfectly curated ladder of schools and jobs. By every traditional metric you can think of, they are the absolute definition of excellence. And yet, despite all this incredible talent, your team is just stuck. You're making tiny improvements, but you're not innovating. And why? Because the people you hired to think outside the box, well, they're all experts in the exact same box.
So that brings us to part two, the framework. Let's talk about something called the Auto Apprentice.
So what is an Auto Apprentice? It's someone who gets to mastery through their own intense, self-directed learning. They aren't just self-taught, they learn by making things. Why? Because in their field, the formal curriculum is probably already out of date. Their learning is totally driven by this deep desire to build stuff and solve real-world problems.
You can really think of it as two completely different paths to getting good at something. On one side, you have that structured, kind of passive, and often pretty slow journey of formal education. And on the other side, you have the fast, active, and, kind of chaotic world of the Auto Apprentice.
Now, this chaotic process, it has its own internal logic. Auto apprentices learn by making. They have a real need to build something, so they go out and get the skills to do it. They learn from a whole network of peers who are also out there building things. And this is critical. Their knowledge is problem-poled. They learn what they need to solve the challenge that's right in front of them, not what some rigid curriculum tells them they should know.
Okay, let's go back to our frustrated CTO. He decided to make a totally different kind of hire. Her name's Maya. Her degree? Art history. But her resume was this amazing portfolio of personal projects and open source contributions. She was a textbook Auto Apprentice.
So at first, the team complained. Her code was unconventional, full of what they called cheesy hacks. But her so-called naive questions and her fresh perspective allowed her to solve the company's single biggest problem in just 1 month. The fact that she didn't know the right way to do things was, it turns out, her greatest asset.
Which brings us to part three, implementation. How do you actually find these people and unlock all that potential? Well, you've got to start by changing how you hire. You need to screen for what you might call a hacker ethos, a real demonstrated history of building things just for the heck of it. You have to prioritize their portfolio of things they've made, way more than their list of credentials they've earned. That's where you're going to find the real signal.
And then, once you've hired them, you can't manage them in the traditional way. You have to create a kind of messy learning environment. Encourage them to collaborate with their peers, give them the space to explore, and, as one writer put it, to flounder promisingly. Your investment should be in the person, not in whatever their initial plan was.
Okay, and that brings us to the final part, your Monday morning action. Here is a simple, tangible experiment you can run with your own team, like next week. It's called a Maker Week. Here's what you do. Give a team a really clear goal and a small budget. But, and this is the most important part, give them 0 instructions on how to get there. Just let them teach themselves whatever they need to know. Then you evaluate them on the outcome, not on the process they used to get there.
So here's the final question I want to leave you with. The Auto Apprentices, they're probably already on your team, hiding in plain sight. So who are they? And maybe more importantly, what process, what assumption, what rule can you get rid of this week to give them the freedom to build your company's future?